talk a lot on this channel about scams because if I don't love a scam, I love to hate a scam, okay? I've also been victim to many scams myself. So I have some insider experience here, and I thought that today I would go over some of the wellness scams that I've fallen for in my life. This is obviously a lighter topic than what we're all seeing online right now at the end of January 2025. But really quick, I think it is important that I state actually where I stand, and to be very clear, free Palestine. All gender expressions are welcome here, and the best way to deal with what's going on and that feeling of hopelessness, if you will, that some of us are probably feeling, is to turn to community, to art, to solutions for positive change, so that it's a solutions-based approach, all the while radically standing up for what you believe in. For example, I myself am involved in an incredible nonprofit called OSWC, and I will link that below. Currently, a lot of our work focuses on harm reduction. If you want to learn more or take a free overdose prevention course, like I said, check out that link. So let's get into the video. Here's the thing about wellness scams though. Those are definitely the kinds that I love to hate because unfortunately they target a lot of people like myself who deal with somewhat mysterious health issues, and trying to get to the root cause of what that is can lead you astray. People who have dealt with difficult health issues usually can't find long-term solutions through Western medicine. So it makes sense that, again, people, including myself, would turn to alternative answers. Thankfully, I'm currently at a place where I have a really good balance, I think, of all kinds of care that are available to us. So like I brush my teeth with prescription strength fluoride toothpaste and Sensodyne. I also see a naturopath. I take prescription medications with my supplements. I love my crystals and astrology. I also have a therapist. So it's important to strike the balance that best works for you. And when you have a platform, it's also important to recognize the effect that can have on people, again, who are more vulnerable to alternative methods, especially when the person speaking about it is selling something. And we'll get into that, don't you worry. Unfortunately, life in the modern era with capitalism is extremely busy. So health scares, I think they really put people into a fight or flight state of mind. So again, from personal experience, it's like you're not quite thinking as logically as you would be otherwise, especially when you feel like there's a ticking clock on something. And when you are on a journey to find underlying health issues, like what the underlying causes of things is, it can take you down several paths. Look at TikTok, for example. People have caught on to a lot of the wellness scams over there, thankfully, such as cortisol face. Cortisol face is a real thing, but when you have hundreds of thousands, if not more, of videos, people talking about cortisol face and symptoms that can be attributed to so many other things, and it's also an ad for like an adrenal support supplement, then it's like, okay, maybe go to your doctor first. Especially because a lot of times the answer is actually your diet, your sleep habits, or your hormones. And all of these things can be tested in a lab, so you can get solid answers about that. And again, that's so expensive, but when I look back at what I've spent on alternative methods and the answers that I did not get from those versus what I've spent on more legitimate things like both alternative and Western medicine, it's a huge difference. So for example, for me, it turns out that celiac disease was an underlying health cause of a lot of things that I was experiencing. And like I said, mysterious, all-encompassing symptoms. I wasn't able to put that together myself because I never realized that I had an issue when I eat gluten. But my naturopath was able to recognize a lot of your symptoms and your lab results could relate to celiac disease, which prevents a lot of nutrient absorption. So it's things like that. But on top of it, there's so many layers here, oh my God. But like on top of that, it's hard because a lot of healthcare professionals are not equipped to go above and beyond in that sense and be like, hey, let's actually look into this instead of treating just the symptoms, you know? So that's why this realm of wellness is so scary. Scary as in prone to scams. One of the first wellness industry scams that I fell for was Young Living. I even made a whole video about this, so check it out. I'll link it up here. I was a young post-grad when I was first introduced to the magic of doTERRA essential oils, which, if you don't know, both doTERRA and Young Living are competing essential oil multi-level marketing companies. And if you're not familiar with MLMs, you must be new to YouTube, first of all. But I talk a lot more about that in my Young Living video, and there are countless resources on this platform, thankfully, just exposing a lot of the dangers around this business structure. But basically, an MLM is a pyramid scheme that has a product. The product is supposed to mask the fact that it's a pyramid scheme. Theoretically, your earnings would be coming, the majority of your earnings would come from selling the product to customers. But the truth is, the way to make real money is by building a team, i.e., a pyramid scheme. So when I was introduced to doTERRA, I was somewhat aware of MLMs because I had an Avon lady growing up. I had a Mary Kay lady growing up. Like, I loved that world. So I was very supportive. I was like, oh, it's, you know, it's a small business, which actually they're just 1099 contractors of a corporation. But basically, I was primed to be recruited. However, I had really good people around me, so nobody pushed that on me. What really got me hooked on essential oils is when the pastor's wife at the church I was going to at the time, back in my Christian days, brought in her oils during one of our monthly breakfasts, and she's such a sweetheart. Like I said, nobody pressured me into purchasing Young Living essential oils. It's just that the things I was told about their magical powers was very influential to me at the time when, like I said, I was looking for alternative long-term solutions to address my underlying health issues, which are autoimmune. I was at a point where I would spend hundreds of dollars a month on oils and other oily products. And like I said, the reason I did this is because I was very convinced by the so-called health claims. I phrase it like that because they use protective language. So for example, they can't say, this essential oil is going to help a sore throat and make it better. But they can say, this essential oil supports throat health, supports your immune system. Like, the word support, or like can support your diet, can support energizing. Like, you know, there's all these words that they can legally get around health claims, like it being an actual health claim. But let's be very clear, those are pretty cut and dry health claims, to be honest. But they would literally like teach people how to talk about the products in a way that would be FDA compliant. Another reason I was super into Young Living specifically is because I was told that they're like the purest oils in the world. And I was like, well, yes, like I'm not gonna buy some shitty diluted oils from the market down the street. But the thing is, no global standard, globally recognized standard, at least at the time, existed for essential oils. So the standard created by Young Living was called seed to seal, and they would say like, oh, it's basically organic because it has the seed to seal promise. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Literally, that could be like, oh, I'm the #1 YouTuber because of my YouTube success program. I just got awarded the top YouTuber award. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. You know, like, what does that mean, ma'am? I love the delusion and everything, but, you know. One of the oily products I wasted a ton of money on is called Ningxia Red. Ningxia Red was, actually, let me see if it still exists. Oh, it's on Amazon. So it says here, cleansing. It's promoted as an antioxidant drink. Ningxia Red is a delicious way to power your day. This exclusive antioxidant drink is clinically shown to increase physical energy levels, improve sleep patterns, and reduce daily stress. So basically, it has things like wolfberry. That was their big claim to fame. They're like, this is a superfood. Wolfberry is goji berry, by the way, which you have likely heard of. They pretty much promoted this drink as a coffee replacement or energy drink replacement, which makes sense because, yeah, it includes a lot of things that do support energy. Here I go using the same terms, but it also contains, this is a direct quote, it also contains a blend of premium essential oils, including orange, yuzu, lemon, and tangerine. These ingredients combine to help prevent oxidative stress, support normal cellular function, and promote healthy energy levels. So they're very careful about not making direct claims. So a 2-pack of these bottles, these bottles are 25.35 fluid ounces. So not very big, smaller than a Stanley Cup. A lot of people's Stanley Cups, or my 32-ounce Hydro Flask. Okay, it's not huge. For a pack of 2 bottles, it retails for $107.89. Okay, the discount price, which basically means if you are a member of Young Living and like signed up as a distributor, it's $82. So $41 a bottle with the discount. Yeah. So I was spending more at the time on this shit than I was on my cheap ass boxed wine. Okay. As I was clicking around, I also saw that they now sell organic dried wolfberries. So this is a little bit more context. For a 16-ounce bag of organic dried wolfberries, it retails for $37.50, or with the discount, $28.50. Okay. For 16 ounces, that's like a regular bag of dried fruit kind of thing. Imagine spending $40 on that shit. My God. Mind you, I took a peek over on Amazon and you can buy 12 ounces of organic wolfberry for $19. Okay. Now, MLMs love to claim that the reason their products are more expensive a lot of the time is because the quality is exponentially better than what you would get from this distributor on Amazon. But the truth is, it's marked up so much so that the funds can trickle down through the pyramid, basically. Because think about it, if you have a big team, so you have one upline and they have like 300 people under them, and those people have 100 people each, and those people have, like a classic pyramid, all those people gotta get paid in some way. One of the ways that they do pay you, I will say, is in discounts and like with little deals. So like a normal corporation. So it is funny how they love to talk about how MLMs are not corporations, because corporations, it's impossible to climb the ladder and blah, blah, blah. It's like, baby, you do know that your multi-level marketing company also has a corporate ladder because it's a corporation. Yeah. And so many MLMs have switched from an MLM structure to just a typical affiliate structure, like Body, formerly Beachbody. Anyway, I'm getting on my MLM spiel, but back to the wellness scam of it all. It's all to say that I wasted a lot of money and it actually did nothing to help get me off of coffee. Ningxia Red actually reminds me of what happened with pomegranate juice. So I just listened to a podcast about the Resnicks, who, if you don't know, they are an evil billionaire couple in California who own a lot of water and water rights for their pistachio, pomegranate, tangerine, and other farms. It's an episode of The Dollop, and I highly recommend you listen to it if you're curious about learning about them, because I'm telling you, this podcast, I think it was like an hour and a half of solid information, and you could not invent a more sinister, greedy couple of business owners. It's pretty gross. One example of this is they basically have a city where only farm workers live for their farms. The Resnicks, in an effort to make their farm workers healthier, instituted Zumba breaks. Yeah. So in the middle of the day, Zumba music would blast over the speakers and everybody would stop what they were doing to do Zumba because that was the only way to get a bonus. There was a weight loss bonus to get people to be healthier. And obviously they did it because they had to. This is all alongside the fact that they had to spend $100 a month on safe drinking water because the tap water there in their homes on this property of the Resnicks was not safe to drink. There's so much more I could say about them, but the reason I brought them up in the first place is because they own the wonderful company, which again, like they have their pomegranate juice called Palm. And I specifically remember when this came out and there were so many campaigns about this amazing superfood pomegranates and bringing them to the US and to the general public. And they made all these insane health claims about how it helps ED, it helps your energy, your sleep, everything. However, they actually got sued for that. In a unanimous 5-0 decision, the Federal Trade Commission found that Palm's advertisements touting the amazing health benefits of its pomegranate juice and supplements were false. So I think with Ningxia Red, because of the way that they're phrasing things, again with the protective language, they're able to somewhat like fly under the radar, whereas Palm Juice was such a big campaign. Like they had celebrities making commercials with them. You know, there's bigger fish to fry with Young Living, in my opinion, outside of the health claims, even though that's a huge one. Another wellness scam that I fell into was with Dave fucking Asprey, the so-called father of biohacking. And I also made a whole video about him, which I will link up here. He's yet another nerdy tech guy who didn't get any pussy in high school, so he's taking it out on us by trying to live forever and making Instagram reels in perpetuity to show everyone how waxy his skin is. On top of that, he will not shut up about his erections. Seriously, what is with these biohackers and their erections? Because I'm sick of it. I bought Dave Asprey's book because it was recommended to me by a friend who found a lot of benefit in that information. In her situation, making the changes addressed in the book were super helpful to her, but for me, I just was like, well, let me just see what it's about, see what kind of, I have some health stuff going on, let me see what I can learn here. And here's the thing, the reason that wellness scams work so well, and scams in general, is because they work a percentage of the time. So if you think about multi-level marketing companies, for example, the reason they're successful is because there are a select group of people who are successful at it. The reason it's a scam, though, is that it's actually impossible, not only unlikely, but impossible for those it is being promoted to succeed to that level. Yet, that is what's being promoted. It's sort of like the idea that we're all closer to being unhoused than we are to being billionaires, yet that's not how we feel. It's because capitalism's a scam. There's also a lot of ancestral wisdom that has been co-opted by people like Dave Asprey, who have a very Western, or more so Western scientific mind. And so they see this opportunity of, well, how can I take this knowledge, turn it into a product to sell? And that just never sits right with me, because it's truly for profit. And it's also so watered down that a lot of times you're not actually getting the benefits of that wisdom itself if you were to receive it from the source. And people like Dave Asprey don't care if they're spreading potentially dangerous information because they're still making money. He's been fact-checked on Instagram so many times. When I was making my video about him, I scrolled through his videos. Several of them contain a fact check for false information. And this man has over 1 million followers. So it's not like it's going into the void. It goes back to people who have genuine health concerns are consuming this as a potential answer. And so it feels like a solution is within reach. So when they see someone like Dave Asprey, who seems like he has the answers, of course they're going to be more likely to go to his website and buy all of his products, including, but not limited to, orange lens sunglasses, which help your eyes and your brain like process light better. I don't remember. I read it in the book. I forgot already. His red light company, his non-toxic coffee, his MCT oil. Those are literally just what I can name off the top of my head. But my point is, at the end of the day, he is a capitalist businessman. His goal is to sell products. Yet he's propositioned himself as like this, again, father of biohacking, this voice of knowledge and wisdom. And if you're not careful, like myself, it's easy to assume that person knows what the fuck they're talking about for every given situation. But the truth is they don't. So Dave Asprey created the concept of bulletproof coffee, which is coffee with a fat source such as MCT oil, grass-fed butter, coconut oil. And this is supposed to aid in a more efficient digestion of the caffeine itself and help to assist in putting you into ketosis, which again, like helps your body and your brain produce mitochondria better. Like the book that I read by him, that's kind of the theme, is how do I get my cells to be more efficient with its mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. So I started doing this. I started putting grass-fed butter and coconut oil in my coffee, and you'll be shocked to hear this, but as it turns out, putting a lot of fat into your coffee, adding fat to your diet, makes you fatter. I was shocked personally. Now again, there's truth to this science, but I think you have to do a lot of other things alongside this practice to ensure that it's happening, the processes you want to happen are happening. So what I'm saying is, like, it would be safe to do this with a healthcare professional, but in just following his advice, I thought I was doing the right thing. But yeah, no, I just gained weight. Now, the last wellness scam I'm covering today is, I don't even know if I would call it a scam. I don't particularly feel scammed, but I think that it's like speaks to how a lot of things in the wellness space are posed as a catch-all solution. So I like to meditate. I haven't done it in a while, but one of the things I've always wanted to do is a sensory deprivation tank. Now that's where you go into a tank or a space, and the space is filled with salt water, and the temperature is like 93 degrees. And so it's supposed to like mimic, our own bodies and help you to feel weightless, basically, is what that is supposed to do. You're in complete dark. It's supposed to be silent, and that should allow you to achieve a trance-like state, ideally. So I tried this for the first time the other week, and it's not for me. It's not for me at all. And I really thought it would be. Like, I'm seriously a perfect candidate for something like this. Unfortunately, I don't think that the space wasn't to my standards. Like, I'm not somebody who's like, I need it to be perfection, and I won't feel safe unless it's like everything's sterile and white. But in a situation like this, like, I just expected a different level of, I don't want to say luxury, but like of cleanliness and peacefulness in terms of setting the vibe, because you have to be extremely relaxed. Like, when you go in there, you can hear your heartbeat, you can feel all those things because your other senses are dimmed. And that was honestly not enjoyable for me. Like, I was anxious. I was not given a lot of instruction when I went in there, and I didn't know what questions to ask until I tried it. There was light leaking in from like the door to the tank for me. I had my arms up like this because that was more comfortable for me, and I was like kind of hitting the sides of the tank, so my senses were not deprived. At first it was like way too hot in there, and then at the end I was freezing. So yeah, it definitely wasn't for me. And Again, I hesitate to call it a scam because I have seen a lot of accounts like on Reddit or even the reviews of the place that I went to. Like a lot of people get a lot of benefit from it. I'm just not one of those people, I guess. I would try it again if there was the opportunity at like a super upscale spa or something like that, but not if it was something like this. Now this is more of a fun scam for me because again, like I don't necessarily think it's a scam. Like I did pay for an experience and I received that experience. It just wasn't one that I appreciated that much. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't feel ripped off by it. So those are just some of the wellness scams I've fallen for. Over the next few weeks, I'll try to think of if there are more. Right now, a lot of cities and communities are experiencing very cold temperatures. So if you have the capacity, I encourage you to support or volunteer at a local warming shelter. We've survived unpredictable times before. We'll do it again. You're not alone. And if you yourself have fallen victim to wellness scams, let me know in the comments because I feel like that will also jog my memory and I'll be like, oh yeah, I did that one too. I've tried so many things. I don't know, call it my childlike spirit. You don't know what you don't know. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.